really important note to make when we're talking about signature systems is...
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. If you would like one-on-one access to over 26 of the top agents in the country to help you scale your business, then head over to eliteagentsecrets.com/partner, or you can just click the link in the description below. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Elite Agent Secrets Show. Today we're joined by Jess Lenoval. She was a 7-figure solo agent and has subsequently helped over 2,000 real estate agents scale through social media and leverage. Jess is one of 3 individuals that is a second-time guest to the Elite Agent Secrets podcast. So I want to welcome her back. And if you haven't listened to the very first podcast when she came on, go back and check it out. She really unpacks her story, some of the cool shit she did along the way, and I know you're going to love it. With that being said, Jess, thanks for coming back on the show. Unpack some more secrets to success. You've got plenty in all your years in the business, but how are you doing?
I am fantastic. I'm really glad to be back. Thanks for having me. You guys are the best.
This one's definitely going to be a little bit different, right? Because for all the listeners, we can push our other episode to give the background. This time we don't have to
listen to the other
go
one
into it as deep. We can just dive right in, which is nice and exciting with the time that we have.
The one thing that is worth mentioning is that if you are watching on YouTube, shameless plug if you're not, Jess is now living in the Bahamas. Still helping a shitload of agents scale, which last time we spoke, you were still in Toronto, in Canada, doing your thing. And now you've got your lovely plants behind you. And we're just chatting off air about the new lifestyle change. And you know what I love about when you're helping agents and like whether you're building a team and stuff, like now real estate more than ever can basically be a virtual like team.
Yes, it can.
You know, you can kind of be elsewhere, make a lot of money selling homes. Like obviously I'm not in the US right now, and like we're still selling homes in the US because Pete's got his boots on the ground, and you know, you're vicariously helping a lot of agents sell a fuck ton of homes. We've actually had, off the top of my head, I can probably name 5 people who've been on this show who are in the top 1% already. Like Heather Hayden, if you haven't listened to her, she's huge. She's been on. Scott Holiday, he's been on. Kieran Gandhi, been on. You've been on. And like these are all people that Jess has got the Midas touch on, so to speak. So she's helped. Now, I want to, because we don't have to do much of a backstory because we are promoting, go listen to Jess's other episode. I want to dive into your first topic, which is building a signature system. So explain what it is and why that is your first secret to success.
Yeah. So a signature system is really going to be your product. So, you know, when I think about like the first quote that always comes to my mind is it's a Seth Godin quote, and it says, "Don't find customers for your products, find products for your customers." And so often I think, you know, just from like a basic standpoint, all companies have a product, right? Doesn't matter if you're selling scarves, if you're selling iPhones, or if you're selling a service. Your service becomes your product. In real estate, your product is what you do. It's your service. And I think that a really important note to make when we're talking about signature systems is that you don't sell real estate, you sell your services, and then you consult on the sale of real estate. I think there's way too many agents out there who really think that like all they need to be good at is selling property. And that's really where they get hung up. So the issue that we see with a lot of agents who don't have a signature system or don't have like an actual product that they're really like promoting and selling, and you know they've got a lot of research behind. The problem is they're flying by the seat of their pants. They are the product instead of having a product. So they're selling themselves as the product. And when you do that, you can't scale. Because if you're magic or you as like an individual are the product, then eventually when you become full, then it's absolutely impossible for you to bring anybody on because you've made a mistake from day one. There's no systematized delivery of your services, which means that you'll end up having to hire too quickly because you don't actually have something that's consistent and predictable that you can offer. And then on top of all of that, your marketing has no education on process and solution because you don't have one built out, and it makes the actual conversion part of your conversations super, super difficult. So those are all the problems that we see if you don't have a signature system.
What I think is interesting, something you touched on, because this is so true. You're like, if you sell yourself, eventually you hit capacity. Yeah. Now, not even just for getting real estate, I can think of a couple of people whose businesses, especially is this kind of like real estate is essentially like a consultative role, like sales, but you're consulting on the sale of the property. And there is a lot of consultants who built brands around their name and themselves. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when they want to leave or slow down, and everyone specifically comes for them, they're like, oh no, I've got Jason. And they're like, we don't want Jason.
I don't want Jason because you've been telling me for the last 10 years that you're the only person who can help me. And I think that it just makes it's a problem. So when you're building out a signature system, like, I think that there's a couple of pieces of this, one of which is having a human focused niche, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. But, the other thing that really makes it really difficult for people is that when somebody says, what do? You have to be able to tell them what you do. And so many people genuinely will just be like, oh, well, we do everything. Well, no, that doesn't sell something that's good, right?
I sell homes, Jess. I sell homes.
Well, exactly. And we hear that a lot too. And it's like, well, so does everybody else. And there's a Henry Ford quote that I really like when it comes to like this kind of stuff. And it's, a market is never saturated with a good product, but it's very quickly saturated with a bad one. And I hear every day, my market is so saturated. Yeah. And it is. Your market is super saturated, but it's because you're doing the same old stuff that everybody else is doing. And
I was going to say, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I heard from another mentor, actually, it was of like a similar guise where it's like, if you have an offer, you can go to the same market. So it was actually, no, do you know who this was? I'll actually give him a shout out, because it's Josh Alazeche, who owns Snow Teeth Whitening. Totally different, like consumer products, but he was like, I find a blue ocean within red ocean. So he's like, I will subsector a niche until I now own a blue ocean within. So he's like, if this was real estate, it's like, you don't just sell every home. This is what we talk about with niching down. Yeah, there's a great guy. I'm not sure if you heard of him. I love his shit just because he's so niche. He's called the Inked Realtor. Okay. His branding is on point. Who he serves is. Everyone knows who he serves, what he stands for, what he likes. You just know everything about the guy. But when you see his car or his billboard, now I'm like, he's played the game and he's winning in a big fucking way. And people think, oh no, a guy with tattoos all over his body, head to foot, would suck at real estate. It's like, no, because he resonates with other people covered head to foot in tattoos.
Oh, 100%. I wrote a content piece. I don't have a lot of tattoos. I have a couple. And I wrote a content piece years ago about, the fact that if you're hiding your tattoos, you're hiding a part of like something true about yourself. And gone are the days that you have to, put on a long sleeve shirt because you've got a tattoo on your forearm, right? It's not like that. People who are going to love you are going to love you because of it. Right. And you guys have heard me say this before. I'd rather have 1,000 people who love me than 100,000 people who could take or leave me. Yeah. Right. And that really comes down to it. It comes down to like, are you being fully authentically yourself? But I think that like some of the process for like, the first step for building a signature system is always going to be a human focused niche and specificity. Right. It's understanding human desires, understanding why this move is happening, or understanding why someone is wanting to, acquire real estate, or, even from investors, people will be like, oh, my niche is investors. Well, that's not really a niche, right? So the niche isn't investors. It's families or individuals looking to create generational wealth.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you would like one-on-one access to over 26 of the top agents in the country to help you scale your business, then head over to eliteagentsecrets.com/partner, or you can just click the link in the description below.